Okay, so in this video we're going to take a look at stem and leaf diagrams. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to set up a stem and leaf diagram, and then I'm going to show you how you can read them and get information from them. Okay, so we've got a group of 25 people who took part in a general knowledge quiz. Their scores are recorded below. So as you can see, if we look at the data, all of the data is 2 digits, right? So 22, 47, 45. And we can split these 2 digits into 2. So if we take a look at the first piece of data, 22, we can split that into the tens column and the ones column. And what we call this our stem, and we call this our leaf. And the most important thing to remember is the leaf can always only have 1 digit in it. And the way we set up a stem and leaf diagram is we draw a line, and on the left hand side we put down first all the stems we're going to need. So my lowest value there is 9 and my highest value is 61. So in the tens column I'm going to have 0 all the way up to 6 representing 60. Okay, and then I'm going to fill in my data on the stem and leaf diagram. So this 22 here, it's going to go in the row with the 20s column, and I'm going to add in the leaf, which is the ones, an extra 2 there. So 47 is going to go here, like this, 47. 45 will now go here. So you can see on the right hand side, I'm just adding in the ones digit. 38 would go here, 52, 45, and so on. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in the rest quickly. You can stop the video here and do the rest yourself as well. Okay, so I've filled in all of my data, and now the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put this data in order because it's not that helpful to me in the way that it is right now. So I'm going to redraw all my stems in. And now I'm going to put all the data in order. So in the ones there, I've just got the number 9, and then I've got 17. Here, 2, 9, and 9, they're already in order. But now if I look in the 30s, my lowest one there is 34, and then I've got 35, 2 37s, and 2 38s. Okay, so go ahead and put the rest of the numbers in order. Okay, so now I've got all my data in order, and because I've got all my data in order, I can now work out what the median and the mode are. So I've got 25 pieces of data. That means that the median is the 13th piece of data, and the way you work that out is you always add 1 to the number of pieces of data you have, so 25 plus 1, and then divide that by 2, and that gives me 13, because 25 plus 1 is 26. Divide that by 2 gives me 13. So I'm looking for the 13th piece of data. So I start to count. And you're only going to count the leaves. So I start here at 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. This 2 here, remember, represents the number 42. So my median now is 42. The mode, remember, is the most frequent number. So again, because the data is in order, I can see I've got these 3 5s here, which represent 45. And 45 is the only number that comes up 3 times. So that's my mode, 45. Now, the next bit says, is the data symmetrical or skewed? So if you take a look at this data, you can see that most of the data is in the 30s, 40s, and 50s, and that's sort of in the middle. And then we've just got a few numbers that are low and a few that are high. So that means we've got symmetrical data. If the data was skewed, what you would see is a lot of values either in the lower numbers or in the higher numbers. So you'd either have lots of high numbers or lots of low numbers, and that data would be skewed. Okay, let's take a look at a second example. This example you can try to do on your own if you like, or you can follow along with me. That's your choice. Okay, so we've got the times taken to run the 400 meters by 20 female competitors in the 2004 Olympic Games. So in this case, we've got numbers that are to the nearest decimal place, first decimal place, or the tenths column. So when we split up our stem and leaf diagram, so what we're going to have to do now is the decimal place will now be the leaf, because we can only have one digit as the leaf. So we'll split our data. If we take a look at the first one, this 50 and then 2 on the other side means 50.2. So that would be our key there. Okay, so when I set this up now, my stems, I'm going to be taking a look at the first 2 digits. So the lowest one I have there is 49. So I'm going from 49, 50, 51 up to 52. That's the highest one I have there. Okay, so now this first value here, 50.2, will go in this column. 51.5, 50.2, 51.0, 50.5, and so on. Okay, and then as we did in the other one, our second step now is to put that data in order. So I'll do it in a different color over here. Okay, so now let's take a look at the question here. So I've got what's the median? Now this time I've got an even set of data. So I've got 20 female competitors. So the median is going to be in between the 10th and 11th pieces of data. So if I count here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. These are my 10th and 11th. So the 10th is 50.3 and the 11th is 50.4. So the middle of those is 50.35. So that's the median of my data. The mode is going to be the most common. So in this case, it looks like we've got 2 modes. So I've got 50.2 comes up twice, and 51.6. So this data is what we call bimodal. So we can have 2 modes, but that's all. Okay, that's the limit. And the mode is both 50.2 and 51.6. And the next question is this data symmetrical or skewed? So it is fairly symmetrical. I'd say we have a little bit more data towards the high end, but in general this looks like pretty symmetrical data. Okay, in our last example, we've got what's called a back-to-back stem and leaf diagram, which means we've basically got 2 sets of data that we can compare. So you can kind of see in the middle here, well, we'll take a look at what the data is talking about. So it says a survey was carried out into the speed of traffic on a main road at 2 times, 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. The speeds of 25 cars were recorded at each time and displayed in a stem and leaf diagram. And sorry, this means miles per hour. I know you usually work in kilometers per hour, so apologies for that. Right, okay, so we read the stem and leaf diagram in the same way. It's just that on the left side of the stem and leaf diagram on this side, we've got the time of 11 a.m. and on the right side we've got the time of 8 a.m. Okay, so let's take a look. What can we compare about the speeds here? Well, hopefully you can see that the data at 8 a.m. it is a little bit skewed in that all of the data is sort of in the lower ends of the numbers. So it looks like the cars go slower. So the cars drive slower at 8 a.m. And you might think, well, 8 a.m., that's rush hour, so cars are going to have to go slower because there's more cars on the road. So there's probably a reason for that. We could take a look at the spread of the data. So let's look at 8 a.m. first of all. Now the minimum speed at 8 a.m. was 27, and the maximum speed was 61. So to get the range there, I'm going to subtract the minimum from the maximum, and that gives me a range of 34. Now let's look at the range at 11 a.m. So the minimum value at 11 a.m. was 26, and the maximum value was this one here, the last one, 74. So if I subtract those two, I get a spread of 48, or a range of 48. So the range at 11 a.m. is higher than the range at 8 a.m. So that means that the speeds were more consistent at 8 a.m. because they had a smaller range. So the consistency of speeds is, how can we word this, is, sorry, that's a bad way to word it. Let me just erase this. I would say maybe the speeds at 8 a.m. are more consistent. Okay, and then I might look at the median. So because I've got 25 values, the median is going to be the 13th piece of data for each one. So when I'm counting for the cars at 8 a.m., I'd start here at 27. So that's the first piece, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So that 3 there is in the 40s. So the median there is 43. So I'll just write that's the median. And let's count for at 8 a.m. We've got 1, and this time I have to count going towards the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So the median here is 51. So the median is a measure of average. So we could say on average, cars' speed is faster at 11 a.m. than at 8 a.m. Okay, so those are just some ways we can use a back-to-back stem and leaf diagram to compare two different sets of data.